Hi there, a got change. How are you? Thank you for being here. As you can see, we don't have much interest in the prosecution of Zachary Hughes, which I think is really strange because it is an fascinating case. So very, very interesting that very few people have interest in it. But I am completely invested. Oh, did I put day 6? I think it's supposed to be day 5. I'm gonna have to correct that. But hey, Jacqueline, how are you? I told you I'd be here, so I actually named it wrong. It should be day 5, not day 6. Hold on, let me fix that. That's probably why nobody came in here, because they saw the day 5 instead. I mean, day 6 instead of day 5. All right, so this is a hell of a case, and it just has not gotten much attention. And I think that's amazing. Hey, Sketty Nona, good to see you. So it doesn't look like they were there long today. So let's go ahead and listen to what we have. It doesn't look like much. Looks like maybe they had something wrong with the audio, the video, maybe something. I'll have to look into it. Like I said, I worked all day today, so not sure all of this is oh, there's a little bit right there. All right, I'm glad I went back and checked. Okay. Make sure we're turned up all the way. And we are. And that is up all the way. And there he is, Zachary Hughes, concert pianist. 60-second recap. This man that you're looking at is Zachary Hughes. He's a Juilliard trained concert pianist. He went to Juilliard on a full ride scholarship. And he is being accused of murdering a woman that he didn't even know, by all accounts. Now, the woman that died, that was murdered, her name is Christine Parcell. It's been called the rose petal murder, because her body was found in her home surrounded by rose petals. There were even some rose petals found in her purse. She definitely had poor taste in men. She had a husband, an ex-husband, who was living in Italy at the time, who basically took her child away from South Carolina, and they ended up in Italy. Her boyfriend is now in jail awaiting trial for 7 or 8 counts of sexual abuse of a minor, her
Welcome
child.
back, ladies and gentlemen. I hope that y'all had a nice rest and break. As I've indicated before, I do need to ask you, has anyone seen anything on news, done any kind of investigation, found out anything about this case?
And I think it's fascinating that he's standing trial, but the husband is not. Nor, I mean,
Thank you. I may please court.
I think of all of them, the one most culpable is the boyfriend.
Mr. Moore and I have been waiting for a long while to be at this point. I was going to say it's been a week, but it's been longer than a week. It's been years. Our client, Zach Hughes,
happened in 21.
Has been waiting for a lot longer than that. He's been waiting over 3 years, some 3 years and 3 months. As Mr. Mormon told you at the outset of this case, we are honored and privileged to be representing Zach. You can hear about Zach in the next day or two. You can hear that he's a very gifted and accomplished young man. He is 32 years old now. He was 29 when this happened. He's from a wonderful family. You've probably seen them seated back here in the courtroom throughout this trial so far.
And just so you know, it's my opinion so far. Okay, now I could be totally wrong. I'm just giving you my thoughts. I think that the father of the child, he was trying to protect his child from the sexual abuse that was happening by the boyfriend and the murdered victim. And I think he set up Zachary Hughes. I think Zachary Hughes had evidence planted against him. I think he got set up.
We're going to hear a little bit about his life. He was born in California. When he was still a boy, his parents took Zach and his brother, moved him to southwestern Virginia, where they moved into a small farm. And then they took on 5 orphan children who lived there with them. And you can hear that Zach was homeschooled. He learned the value of hard work and discipline as he grew up around the family farm. He helped his young siblings. His family moved to Greenville when Zach was a teenager. In Greenville, he finished high school, being homeschooled still. And you'll hear that his hard work and his discipline paid off. And he was accepted into a very fine college with scholarships. He went on where he studied music, and he won piano competitions. His emphasis was on piano performance. As an adult, Zach has had an accomplished career performing classical music and even recording classical music. So this is the time now for our case and for Zach to testify. But understand, ladies and gentlemen, that we have no obligation under the law or the Constitution to be doing this. This case actually could be over when the state rested. The state has the burden of proof of proving this case in every element of every charge beyond a reasonable doubt. We would not have to put up anybody. Zach wouldn't have to testify. Wouldn't have to put up any witnesses. In fact, if Zach were not here, his honor would instruct you that you couldn't use that against him. But we are going to do so. And Zach is going to testify because Zach has been waiting for this opportunity to tell a group of people like you what really happened, which is that he took the life of Christina Parcell. And crucially, he's been waiting and wanting to tell you why.
Wow.
Now, the why to a case like this is very important because it goes to the heart of the matter, and that is malice. Okay, malice is what makes a homicide a murder. And we heard from that from the prosecution's opening, as you recall. The prosecution said that Zach was mad. They said he had an angry heart, that he wanted to inject himself into this custody dispute of somebody he knew. But that's not why it happened. And that is not what you were going to hear about why this happened. Now, as we turn to our case now, it's important to realize that we could have handled this case extremely differently. Okay, we could have attacked the sufficiency of the state's case. We could have brought in an expert to talk about the DNA. Okay, we didn't do that. We could have challenged the identification evidence. And I want you to consider the professional from law enforcement, from the state law enforcement division, who testified about the enhancement that they did on the videos and the photographs, and how they were able to use this fancy technology to enhance and to account for the differences between sunlight and shadow and the distance. And after all of that, and after all of the technical work that was done, the conclusion was that the guy on the bicycle was 6'5", a big guy like him. Well, as you probably noticed, and as you will see, Zach is shorter than I am.
Oh, wow.
On a good day, I'm 10 foot. I'm 6 foot, 5 foot 10 inches.
10 foot.
He's shorter than I am.
Wow. 6'5",
Consider
eh?
the other professional. There's one who spent a great deal of time looking at the enhancement of the person on the bicycle.
We talked about that, y'all, that it did not look like somebody was 6 feet tall.
Had a beard. It has to be a man. And they
Sled strikes again. There you go, Critter Watcher.
Used again all of that technical information. Take a look at it. This guy had a beard. This is before they had any suspects. Well, what do we know about Zach and what we learned about Zach? He was clean shaven. We know that from a couple of days.
Lynn got everything wrong.
We know that from a couple of days after. We could have attacked that. We could have attacked the identification from the neighbor. As you remember, a neighbor, after 3 years, came into court And all of a sudden, after 3 years, was able to identify the man whose picture had been on television for the past 3 years.
Wow.
Never told anybody even that she could identify somebody. And this was somewhere between 8 and 8:15 in the morning. And what you're going to find, ladies and gentlemen, is that couldn't have happened because the person on that bicycle was not even in that neighborhood for at least an hour to an hour and 15 minutes later. But we didn't attack that. We could have done that, and we could have made mountains of objections throughout this trial. And as you heard, we made very few, and we did not do it. And why is that? Because Zach wants to take the stand and tell you what happened.
I'm blown away. I am right now blown away. Every single thing that we questioned watching the prosecution, he doesn't look 6'5". You can't see his face. Zachary had no beard. Everything we said, he just admitted to that they could have fought it. But instead, Zachary wants to get on the stand and say, I did it. I'm in shock.
Now, the prosecution has told you that they will prove this malice in this case by showing you that Zach was mad, that he was angry. And malice is a key part of this case because malice is the very essence of the definition of murder.
Okay? And see, the other night when we were watching the prosecution's case, we didn't talk about malice. We were talking about like motive, right? We were saying, why would this Juilliard trained concert pianist, why would he just step in and kill this woman? Or even more important, why would the cops even look at him to have done it? Like, what is in it for him? And the only thing that we could come up with is we were saying that maybe perhaps he had experienced assault when he was a little kid, and he just sort of felt this, like a moral imperative to stand and try to protect this little girl from what they were doing to her. We talked all that, but we didn't call it malice. We didn't use the legal, standard. But yeah, we were so close, weren't we? That's amazing.
So what is murder? Murder is
Sketty Nona mentioned malice. There you go. Wow.
And what is malice?
M-cause. I'm already blown away.
That is madness. And that is a component of it. The definition, though, it is the killing of a person without just cause or excuse. The intentional doing of a wrongful act without just cause or excuse. And I want you to think about those words, that definition, as you listen to the testimony that you're about to hear in this case.
Well, you got it right, Skitty Nona.
It's very important because it gives insight into the person's heart. In this case, you were going to hear that the why was not jealousy or greed or a crime of passion or some other emotion. You're going to hear that Zach did not act like an angry heart like the prosecutor conjectured. You're going to hear that this was not done for money or any other personal gain.
Why would he do it?
Not to help out any kind of friend. You're going to hear that this was done for a just cause. And that's not malice, and that's not murder. Thank you.
So he's like a superhero. That's the reason he did it. Wow. Amazing. I am blown away. Me too, Jacqueline. Look at him sitting there. He doesn't look anywhere close to 6'5". Man, the Dexter defense, Kara, I'm going to rename my trial, all of my trial videos. I'm going to rename them Dexter defense. Unbelievable. Wow. I can't believe it. What could anyone consider at this point? I mean, look, we knew there was something up when the defense attorney declined an opening statement. We knew there was something. We just didn't know what it could be. But by not revealing this, he forced the prosecution to lay the cards out on the table, right? I just don't know if I would have done that. I don't. But he said he wants to tell the story, right? That he wants people to know right is right, wrong is wrong, I guess. They know they can't get around the fact his DNA is under her fingernails. Wow. I'm blown away, because one of the things I said, maybe the guy in Italy paid him a lot of money. Maybe that's why he did it. Wow. I can't wait to hear this testimony. Look at him. He looks like he's confident. Wow. Buddy, you and Charlie Adelson gonna be sitting in a cell together talking about your bright, shining careers you used to have. Welcome, Baba Rose and Lola. Kara, they can't get around. Yeah. Because they can plant the evidence on the bicycle, right? But how do you explain it under her nails? Me too, Jacqueline. I don't even know what to say because I'm in such shock.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to send you back to the jury room.
Oh, Lord.
For a moment, and then I will be back with you.
Okay.
I want to also thank you just for your patience. We've had a lot of legal issues that I've had to take up with the attorneys, okay? So I will be back with you shortly.
Legal issues to be taken up with the attorneys. The judge is also in shock. The judge's jaw is on the ground with our jaws. Everyone. Oh my goodness. That's why we didn't get a lot of testimony today. The judge is going, "Sir, do you know what you're doing? Has your attorney talked with you about the ramifications for what you're about to do?" Wow. Do you realize you don't have to say anything? Oh man. We said it though. As we listened to the prosecution case, we all said all these things. We said them. We guessed it. And even Sketty Nona actually used the proper legal standards. She actually looked up malice. Wow. Thank you, Sketty Nona. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. I don't know why my screen looks so messed up. There we go. So again, okay, so this guy, Juilliard trained concert pianist, Zachary Hughes, did not know the woman killed Christina Parcell. And Christina Parcell, this all happened in South Carolina. Christina Parcell was a terrible judge in men. Both her ex-husband who lived in Italy and her current boyfriend who was like this millionaire dude. But they were both these terrible people. And the person that was getting hurt was this little girl, right? The daughter of Christine Parcell and her ex-husband, the dude who lives in Italy. It has come out now as a course of investigating the murder of Christine. The law enforcement did Cellbrite on her phone and also on the phone of the boyfriend, and found child pornography of Christina's daughter on the boyfriend's phone, and Christina was in 3 of the images. So this is a disaster. Okay, the story, there's no real victim other than the little girl. Now, the dad of the little girl who is in Italy, he's been fighting tooth and nail to get the little girl with him. And he's not nice. He's furious. And if it was your daughter, you'd probably be furious too, right? So the guardian ad litem, everybody failed this little girl. Everybody. Then comes along Zachary Hughes, who is friends with the dad who lives in Italy. He actually visited Italy just before all this happened. And he's the one now that did the dirty deed. So it appears that he's going to admit that he did it on the stand. So I have not seen this. I was working all day today. So let's see what happens. I'm just blown away. But you can bet when the judge sent the jury out, you can bet that the judge said, hold on a minute, Mr. Hughes. Do you know what you're doing? Have you discussed this with your attorney? Do you understand that you don't have to take the stand? Do you understand you can rest your case now? Blah, blah, blah. I mean, you know that's what happened, right? So let's see what happens. One of the reasons that I'm so shocked is because there's about 12 of us that have been watching this case together. And we were all kind of saying the same things. They were saying, look, the guy's 6'5". And we were all looking, okay, well, what's the height of a standard door, which is only like 8.5 feet? And so you look at the guy standing there at the door and you're like, that is not a 6'5" man. What is that? How are they holding him responsible when you can look at the guy standing at the door and see he's not 6'5"? So we all kind of had all these conversations, and even Sketty Nona actually said malice. She talked about the definition for malice. It's amazing. I'm blown away.
Welcome back. I would have kept you in here if I knew I was going to get my answer so quickly. It is 12 o'clock. I'm going to ask that y'all return at 1:30. We're going to take a break.
Oh, we got another break.
And then we will pick up at that point. Again, I remind you.
Man, did you see him frown? Watch Zachary frown. He really wants up on that stand. Watch him frown.
And then we will pick up at that point. Again, I remind you of everything that I punished you for, and do not begin any deliberations or discussions about this case. Okay, we'll see you back at 1:30. Thank you.
He is very unhappy right there, isn't he? He's ready to tell his story. My guess, the judge probably wanted the lunch break to call his other judge friends and say, what do I need to do here so that I don't have a problem with the appellate court? Interesting. All right, let's jump past the lunch. Oh, on lunch. Right here. Make sure I don't miss any. Don't know why that's flickering right there. All right, people, here we are.
May it please the court, defense will call investigator Dan Bell.
Yeah, Justice Jane, that's true. Yeah, 6'8", not 8 feet 6 inches. Thank you. Thank you, Sketty
Do you solemnly
Nona.
swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. Please state your name for the record.
Daniel Bevel.
Very good question, Kara.
You were called in the state's case in chief. Do you remember that?
Yes, sir.
And my understanding is it correct that you began working for the sheriff's office, Greenville County Sheriff's Office, roughly in 2012? Is that correct?
That's correct.
And you've got a bachelor's degree from Troy University. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
You testified about this previously, but briefly tell this jury what units you have served in the sheriff's office.
I started in patrol from 2012 to 2017. That's your standard uniform patrol deputies answering 911 calls, any kind of call for service. After that, I went to specialized investigations from 2017 on to, in there, I went to the Crimes Against Children unit from 2017 to 2019. That's any kind of child abuse, child neglect, child sex crimes. Then after that, 2019 to 2023, I went to the Internet Crimes Against Children unit. That's any kind of child exploitation.
Investigator Bevel, you talked about your time in the Crimes Against Children unit. When you're in a specific unit within the sheriff's office, do you receive specialized training associated with that type of unit?
Yes, sir.
Right. And so when you were on the road in uniform patrol, did you receive specialized training related to that?
Yes, sir.
And when you were in the unit of the Crimes Against Children, did you receive specialized training in that discipline?
Yes, sir.
And let me show you. Let me show you Defense Exhibit 65. Just take a look at this for identification only.
Yes, sir.
Investigator Bevel, for example, that is the report you drafted for the purpose of the harassment investigation. Is that correct?
It is, sir.
And so this is of the kind of report you would draft depending on what investigation you were conducting or what tasks you were performing with the sheriff's office.
That's correct.
As an investigator, are you familiar with a phrase called the lead investigator?
Yes, sir.
And ultimately, the lead investigator is just that the investigator on a case who is ultimately responsible for the investigation. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And in this case, investigator Sparkman would be deemed or likely be the lead investigator. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Were you also the lead investigator in another case in connection with this case? Let me ask it a different way. On October the 19th, 2021, did you become the lead investigator in another case?
Ye-
It's your objection.
Objection, this is going to follow your previous ruling.
Okay. I will sustain the objection.
Okay. Your Honor, due to Your Honor's previous order with the restriction, I'm going to move on, and I'm going to move on. Investigator Bevel, you testified, as you said, in the state's case in chief, and that was just last week, wasn't it?
Yes, sir.
And I would imagine you're still familiar with your testimony in the state's case in chief.
Yes, sir.
And I want to talk to you about that testimony. And specifically, I want to refer to a specific portion of it. Do you remember during your direct examination, you testified about mailers and the contents of mailers that you had been provided in the early summer and through the summer of 2021? Do you remember that testimony?
I believe so. Are you referring to the mailers as what I was given by
Yes.
Postman Parcell?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And you testified that those mailers had nude photographs of Christina Parcell in those mailers. Is that correct? Remember that?
Yes, sir.
And I've got a transcript. I want to ask you specifically about this exchange. Do you remember being asked by Mr. Wilkins, when you first got these photos, let me back up. Do you remember testifying about the fact there was a website listed on the photographs? Do you remember testifying to that?
Yes, sir.
And do you remember Mr. Wilkins asking you about questions about different fonts and different placement? Remember that?
Yes, sir.
Do you remember Mr. Wilkins asking you this question? Now, when you first got these photos, did you attempt to try to find the website on there? Do you remember that question?
Yes, sir.
And you testified, yes, sir. You remember that?
Yes, sir.
And then do you remember Mr. Wilkins asking you, how'd you do that?
Thank you, Jacqueline. Yes, the mother was complicit. There were 3 photographs on the phone. There were a bunch of photographs on the phone. In 3 of the photographs, it was Christine Parcell, creepo boyfriend, fiance, and the little girl in compromising positions. So the judge made the call, and the judge said, no, you're not going to talk about sexual abuse in this trial. However, is this right or wrong? Y'all correct me. Sketty Nona, correct me. If Zachary takes the stand, he can talk about it because that's his motive. Is that right or wrong? Yeah, I think we talked about that the first day, Jacqueline. I think you did. There were over 100 videos and photographs of this. Yes. What does the sister say about all of this? The sister was snarky and aggressive on the stand. The judge said he can't use defense of others, so we're not sure what he can say. That is so crazy. Okay, I'm blown away. Thank you, Kara. That's what I wondered, because if he's the one that takes the stand, he's the accused, he's saying I'm the one that did it, how in the world can the judge legally stop him? That is so hard for me to understand. I just don't understand. Weird.
And you testified.
We need
the address of one of our computers in the office. Do you remember that?
Yes, sir.
We need lawyer, or Emily Baker. Somebody needs to tell us, explain it to us.
And do you remember Mr. Wilkins asking you, and what did you find? And you testified that the website no longer worked. Do you remember that?
Yes, sir.
And then do you remember Mr. Wilkins asking you, so you put belladondigiorno.com escort site and put it in your computer, and you responded, yes, sir. Do you remember that?
I believe so. Yes, sir.
And he asked you what happened, and you said, it just redirected me to another escort website.
Oh,
Yeah.
Ian's
Yes, sir.
awesome. Yeah.
And then then he asked you, were any of those photos on that escort site? And remember, you testified no.
John, I'm sorry, I got an objection. Can I
I'm almost done. I'm one more line.
I'm gonna let him ask this question.
Do you remember Mr. Wilkins asked you, were any of those photos on that escort site? And you responded, no, sir. Do you remember that?
Yes, sir.
And then just one more. Do you remember he asked you, was any pictures or were any pictures of Christina Parcell on any of those websites that you found? And you testified, no, sir. Do you remember that?
Yes, sir.
Isn't it true that in the harassment report that I just showed you, Defense Exhibit
John, I've got another objection I need to make. I need to just put it on the record.
Yeah, this is, I mean,
I'm sorry.
let's pick up where we left off. I had reminded you of your testimony from last week, wherein you were asked the following about typing in this website, and you were asked what happened, and you testified it just redirected me to another escort website. Then you were asked, were any of those photos on that escort website, and you testified no, sir. And then you were asked, which you previously testified to, were any of the pictures of Christina Parcell on any of those websites that you found? No, sir. Remember that testimony?
Yes, sir.
Isn't she in your report on the harassment allegations?
Your Honor, I'm reading.
Your Honor, he's an adverse witness, 611C. He testified for the state. He's a member of the Greenville County Sheriff's Office. I have every single right to lead him pursuant to 611C.
Your Honor, he's their witness. They call it
In
in
what-
direct examination. Witness. I'm just saying.
Wow, Judge, who the hell are you trying to
I'm
protect?
going to show you Defense Exhibit 65 again. Look at this.
True,
voluntary.
Jacqueline.
Would you please read what I have bracketed to the jury?
Yes, sir. I photographed the 6 envelopes and the contents of the open ones. The open ones were addressed to Brett Post. One contained black and white nude images of Parcell with the address checklist. The images have a web address of http://belladonna.escort-site.com. I checked this web address and it was not valid. It redirected me to another escort site under a different URL. The other contained several of the same images, but were not in color.
So is it true based on this report that you were redirected to other websites that had the same images that were in those envelopes? Isn't that correct?
No, sir.
Isn't that what you said in your report?
That's poorly worded on my part, but I meant the other envelopes. Same images were not in color.
What are you saying you meant?
The images that were in the other envelopes, not another website.
So didn't you say that you found these on the internet? Isn't that what you said in your report?
No, sir.
Tell me again what you said. Yeah, please read it again to the jury. Read it again.
It's okay if I go to the relevant part instead of
Yeah,
everything.
I've got a bracket there.
Okay. Photographs 6 envelopes and the contents of the open ones. The open ones were addressed to Brad Post. One envelope, or it just says one contained black and white nude images of Parcell with the address checklist. The images have the web address of http://belladonna.escort-site.com. I checked this web address and it was not valid. It redirected me to another escort site under a different URL. The other contained several of the same images, but were in color. Now, like I explained, it's poor wording on my part, but I was referring to the other envelopes contained
It
several
sounds
of the
like you're
same images, but they were in color. I wasn't referring to another website.
And in your report, you don't distinguish between envelopes and websites, do you?
Like I said, it was just poor wording, but I was referring to just other envelopes had the same images, just in color.
And is it true that it is very possible that those images could have been online and just taken down at the time you tried to look at them? Is that true?
In another website? Is that what you're referring? Yes, sir.
One second. Those are all the questions I would ask Investigator Bevel in this context. I don't have anything further on the examination.
Okay, please, Corey, briefly. Did you ever find naked photos of Christina Parcell on the internet when you checked?
No, sir.
It's 'cause it didn't exist. You could find.
Not that I could find.
No further questions.
Nothing else, Your Honor. Okay. Your Honor, there is, Your Honor, pursuant to your previous ruling, I would like to present some information in the absence of the jury.
Interesting, huh? And again, we don't get to hear what they're talking about. So what the hell? That's it?
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, today has been a little bit of an unusual day just because there's been a lot of legal issues that I've had to go over with counsel, and I am grateful for your patience. As I've stated on numerous occasions,
Well, good
thank you all
Lord.
for your service on behalf of the state of South Carolina. Thank you, and Greenville County. I'm going to allow y'all to break for the day. I'm going to ask that you come back at 9:30 in the morning, consistent with my admonition to you all. Again, you are prohibited from watching any type of TV coverage of this trial. Do not do any research on anyone involved in this case. You're not to look at any social media. It's important to this trial, justice and fairness to the defendant and the state, that you only consider the evidence that comes in through this courtroom, and you're not to discuss this case among yourselves. Begin deliberating until I tell you to do so. And lastly, if anyone approaches you to talk to you or ask you anything about this case, you need to immediately let me know, okay? I will see y'all at 9:30 in the morning. Thank you again.
Well, I mean, so that's all that they had today? I'm really, really disappointed. So he did not take the stand. I'm sitting here looking to see if I missed something. Zachary Hughes wants to testify. No, he did not. Okay, so no, he did not take the stand. Okay, so there's that. How disappointing. There was a lot of legal debate over the testimony. You know, other trials we've been able to watch when the jury was out of the room. Why is the judge not making this public? Something happened at sidebar that caused all of this. Huh. Well, there's that. I thought this was going to be a much longer stream, but yeah, there's definitely a little girl that needs to be protected. Yeah, for sure. But wow, really, really crazy. Okay, so they'll be back tomorrow.
All right, let's look at slide 97. And is this a screenshot that you took of the defendant's Instagram account?
Yes, it is.
And
this is a case I'm not covering. All right, guys. So that is that for today. So yeah, so we'll be back tomorrow, and perhaps the judge will let Zachary take the stand tomorrow. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, the child will not be testifying. Defense says there will be 2 days of testimony. Interesting. Well, they didn't really have a day of testimony today, did they? Maybe a quarter of a day. Pretty Lies and Alibis was in the court. She was updating on X. Oh, that could be interesting. Let me look. right. Okay. Um, I'm looking for where she was in court. Hold on. The defense case begins and what you didn't see on the stream. Okay, this is a podcast that she's doing. I don't have the right to play her podcast, y'all. So go to at Pretty Lies Alibi, at Pretty Lies Alibi on X, and she's done a full recap on what today was all about. So I can't take this is her content. I don't have the right to do that. So I can just kind of show you, hold on a minute. So that is, if you just go to her at Pretty Lies Alibi, then she's got a podcast recap here. She's got other things too, but this is the one we really want to listen to.
What you know, Alibis, welcome to another episode of Pretty Lies and Alibis. I'm Gigi. Good to have you here. It's Tuesday, February 18th. We were back in court today, and it was also the first day of the defense case, although not a lot of testimony, at least on the live stream. We're going to get into what happened before.
Okay, so I'm not playing any more than that. So you guys have to go to X and you have to look her up so you can find out what in the world were they talking about when the cameras were turned off. All right. So I will see you guys tomorrow and we will cover Zachary Hughes being on the stand and see how it went. All right. Thank you all so much for being here. I appreciate you more than you know. It's always a lot of fun to have somebody to talk to about these trials as we get into them, especially one with this many tips and turns. It's been a crazy trial. So I will see you guys tomorrow. Everybody sleep well. Thank you for being here.
Well, I'm sitting in my chair late at night, watching crime unfold under the pale moonlight. From the darkest corner, stories unfold. True crime jewels, she's brash and she is bold. On the YouTube screen, we're digging deep into the mysteries that never sleep. From missing kids in Tennessee to angry husbands named Barry. True crime's calling, and we're taking the time. So grab a seat, don't miss a beat. This True Crime Jewels got what you need. From missing people to twisted minds, we're unraveling secrets old Barry tried to hide. Every clue, every twist and turn. In the world of crime, there's always more to learn. On the YouTube screen, we're digging deep into the mysteries that never sleep. From Christopher's anger to Stephen Fisher's lies. The truth is calling, and justice won't be denied. So grab a seat, don't miss a beat. True Crime Jewels on the YouTube streets. we're chasing truth, we spot every lie. Step into the darkness, hold on tight. Two flashlights out there in the dead of night. On the YouTube screen, we're digging deep. Barry Morphew's case is hot. A boy in Tennessee won't be left behind. From the coldest cases to the ones that shine, true crime's calling, and we're taking the time. So grab a seat, don't miss a beat. This true crime jewel's got what you need. We're always watching Barry and waiting for the truth. In the world of crime, we discuss the proof. So hit that play and join the true crime journey with jewels of thought and her gemstone family.